If you are in the self-development space and you are familiar with the inner child work practice, I'm super excited you are in this video. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. My name is Melisa. If you have been watching my videos, you probably know that I am starting a new business guided by my intuition. If you're new to my channel, this is what my channel it is about. I am starting a business guided by my intuition, and I've been sharing all the things that I've been facing, I've been learning through the process of starting a business guided by my intuition. The type of business I am creating, I am starting, it is in the wellness spirituality space, combined with creativity. I am a graphic designer. um, I went to school for graphic design and fine arts in Colombia, and I've been in the creative environment for a while. I started my first business 2015. It was an underwear brand, a sustainable underwear brand. And after that first experience being an entrepreneur, um, I decided to stop the brand. I wasn't feeling like it was going in the direction, let's say, my soul wanted to go. So I went into a journey, a process of self-discovery. If we talk in more spiritual terms, I went in I had my first awakening, a spiritual awakening, and that was from 2019 to early this year, until early this year, when I realized that I was ready to start my new business, and I was ready to start sharing with the world everything that I've been learning, experiencing, all the breakthroughs I'm having. And if you are in this space as well, if you resonate with the experiences I've gone through, the type of person I am sure you have work with inner child work. You have done some of the practices, you probably follow a bunch of the coaches and teachers out there that share how we should do the inner child work. And in my video, I want to teach you a practical way to do it, because I find that after the pandemic, during the pandemic, it was a wonderful time. A lot of crazy things were going on, but it was a wonderful opportunity for a lot of us to be curious, to learn about who we were, to get into spirituality, to get into mental health. So I'm in my mid 30s. I feel like that was the time where not only a few people started learning about themselves. It is a very special thing to say that it was a lot of people that did the same thing. So when we do things collectively, I'm sure you understand, you know this, like, we just move faster, you know. So all these concepts before the pandemic, I don't remember people talking about, a lot of people talking about inner child work. It was just like a few people, and it was just like, whenever you hear about it, you were like, what is it? Like, you had to explain it. And now it's like everyone might have a little understanding of what it is. All that to say that yes, we have had a lot of progress in the self-development space, in mental health, in spirituality in the last few years, but still we all are learning, figuring out how much we do, what is the way we do it. So in my process, I've been learning from so many different people. One of the reasons why I'm inspired and I wanted to create this YouTube channel, it is because I still see that it's a little difficult to kind of find that way that feels authentic to you to do the work. I feel like we all are so different. So the way I do it, it might be your way, but it might not be the way for other people. So I am a believer that once we figure out things in life, we all should share it with the world. That's the way I learned so much. That's how I came to, how I got to where I am in life, to have some wisdom and some understanding, because of me learning from other people, being inspired by other people. So I spend time. My mind is a very creative mind, and I always want to find, as an entrepreneur and creative, if you identify as one as well, I always want to find easier way, most practical way of doing things, a way that can be accessible for everyone, especially, when we are bringing products into markets, we have that understanding, like we want everyone to be able to enjoy and to understand what is that thing that we are offering. So that's why I created all this intro, to say, like, I'm super excited to share this new way to do inner child work. I'm going to try to break it down in a easy way. So yeah, let's get started. The one thing I want to say is that I spent a lot of years working with children. During the process of starting my first business, I had all kind of gigs, all kind of jobs, and I spent it was one of those experiences that I had a lot of times where I was going crazy, and I was like, God, universe, whoever, big intelligence out there, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is so frustrating, but it was so consistent in my life having these jobs that I got to a point many times that I was like, I'm sure there's a freaking big reason why I'm doing this. It was painful. A lot of the times it was painful. I was like, I hate them, I hate everyone, I hate myself. And don't get me wrong, like there were a lot of times that I connected with that bigger reason, and I had many business ideas for to do in this space. And now I'm realizing that thanks to spend so much time around them, experiencing so many things with them, I'm able to see inner child work, for example, and self-development in a kind of powerful way. So the one thing I want to remind you, because these are not things that you don't know, you once were a child. You might be around children in your family, your friends might have children, or you can just go to a playground and you're gonna see how children behave. One thing I want to remind you, the little psychology you need to know, and you can ask Google and ChatGPT, you can do a little research even here in YouTube about children development. The one thing we need to understand is that from 0 to 7 is when we create the foundation of our beliefs based on how much trauma or how many wonderful experiences we have during those time. Based on those first 7 years, from that age on, we just repeat. If things, we created the associations of everything at that age. If something felt good, then we keep repeating and attracting that same situation. If something felt bad, we keep attracting and experiencing the same way. It changes a little bit, but usually the wounds we have at our age, no matter how older you are from experiences that we had at that time. That's the little psychology I want you to be aware of. But the one thing psychology doesn't talk much, and I'm like, it is mind-blowing. I do have a sister that has a 10-year-old kid. There are a lot of families that have kids at the moment, and there are a lot of parenting styles, and I'm like, there is a lack from inner child work and parenting styles. For example, like, we all know that children are crazy. They can drive you crazy. There is not a perfect human that is going to be 24 hours an angel in full presence, to be able to provide everything the child needs. Even if the person, let me tell you, even if the person is fully present through the 24 hours, I'm exaggerating of course, of the day, if the child hasn't learned how to speak, even if you learn a technique to read minds, which I don't know yet, it might be difficult to understand 24 hours of the day of the child that is 3 years old exactly what they need. So they might be a few hours of one day of a 3 years old child that is still doesn't speak. I think they speak at 3 years already, but you know, you get me. There might be a few hours of that day that they didn't get what they needed. So no matter what, children get traumatized. Period. The parent is someone that meditates and is present the whole day. But the child grows up and starts going to a daycare, starts going to preschool, whatever, and the teacher is going through a divorce. The teacher is going through, she goes to therapy, she's learning about herself, she is into the self-development, but she hasn't figured out how to be completely healed and be present the whole time. So the needs of the baby are being neglected a few hours of the day. The kid is being traumatized. So I just want you to know that no matter how amazing your parents were and how wonderful, you know, your teachers and everyone around you when you were little, they work, we are, I think, in a way, we are meant to be traumatized. Even if we don't like that idea, because in the process of learning about those emotions, that trauma, is where we are humans, where we get to be human. You know, humans are meant to go to transformations. During those times of transformation is where we learn, we gain wisdom, we expand, we learn about who we truly are. It is part of being a human. So that's one thing, and I'm just reminding you because I know you know this already. So my intention reminding you about this is just to remove a little bit of the heavy parts of inner child healing. I feel like once we get there, it's just like when you think about healing, it's just like when you're sick and you need to take medicine, it's just like kind of dramatic, and you have to do the work in order to be healed. Like you're healing because you need to be healed, and that doesn't work like that. I feel like words have a very heavy, impactful energy, and healing has unfortunately not a very positive energy. So yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas to you, so you choose what you want to believe from all these things, from all these terms. And I want to make obviously a little easier the whole thing about inner child healing. The next thing, based on my own experience working with children for so long, based on the understanding knowledge I have about psychology, self-development, and children development, the one thing I want to share now is what children really need when we are in a dysregulated emotional state. A lot of the times you might have seen that the child is throwing a tantrum, and they don't even want to hug, they don't want to kiss, they don't want to go for an ice cream, they don't want to go and play, they don't want anything, right? A lot of the times they really want the hug, right? And they want all the ice cream and all the things. A lot of the times, even if they want that doesn't help them. Like I kept saying, if you give them the ice cream, if they're throwing the tantrum, that gives them sugar, and they go crazy with the sugar. So that's a reality. And I think in inner child healing, we don't talk about that. They want us to meet the little versions of ourselves and to just to give everything to that inner child, everything that they needed. So people, coaches and teachers, they invite you to go and eat the ice cream and go and do all the things. And I think we're missing something very important, and we're making that tool, that process of inner child healing, too complicated. And the thing I find we are missing is the concept, the practice of being present. From my own experience, the one thing that worked all of the times after me going crazy, a lot of the times, not knowing what to do with these children, was to be present. Present and accepting everything. The tantrum, the the performance, because tantrums can look like a crazy wild thing sometimes, and still be present. Being present for when some of them, after they figure out by their own, just to see how else you can be present, how else you can be there for them without not judging them, and with love. That's so freaking challenging. I'm telling you, I got to do that only on the last couple of years I worked with children. It took me years. And let me also tell you, when you are a parent, my sister has a 10 years old, you only have that child. Well, if you have multiples, you're going to understand the idea. You have that one child only being 1 year once, being 3 years once, being 5 years and 7 years once. In my experience working with children, I had many different babies being 1 year, being 2 years, and 3 years. So I was able to practice many times in the same age the things that were going to help them. And it took me a while. It took me a lot of practice to realize that all they need is your presence. So now we're going to talk about presence, because presence, it is the tool I'm going to teach you today. Presence is the thing that from now on I invite you to explore. I invite you to get curious with, and you are going to realize and you are going to experience how it's going to shift your whole inner child work healing experience. And it's going to make it way more practical, way more easier. You won't have to spend 40 minutes of your day journal for I don't know how many hours. That's gonna be gone from now on. Only by you being present is gonna be a game changer. So being present, it is something that can be, for a lot of people, super abstract. Like, some people don't even understand what that is, how you do that, how you get into that state. Instead of teaching you how to get there, I'm going to teach you what stops us from being there. The one thing that stops us from being present is our minds. There are a lot of stimulations. Food can be a big one. A lot of people, especially if you identify yourself as a sensitive person, you're taking in a lot, not only from interactions with people, but from environment, from light, from smells, from things. So I do need, I'm a manifestor also, if that helps you to understand better how things work for myself, just to see if you identify fully with my experience. I need quiet time. I need to use my energy for little bits, 1 day, 2 days, and if I don't get that quiet time, my mind gets freaking busy. No matter how much breath work I do, meditation, it takes me a while to get back to regulate. So that's the one thing I want to share. Be a student of your mind. Understand what activates your mind and what helps to calm that activation. Now that you have a little understanding on the things that might activate your mind, no matter how that happens for everyone, the next thing I invite you to do is just to accept everything. Okay, so I'm a little overstimulated. Okay, I'm a little activated. My inner child is throwing a tantrum down there. They say down there in your, they say that we hold our emotions in our stomach. Because if we don't accept, we are creating resistance. And resistance also is what creates activation in our minds, because what resistance wants is to figure things out, how to get out of this, but when you let go, when you surrender, you just accept, there's not need to think. So not trying to control, not trying to change, not resisting to the experience, that takes you to acceptance. And once you are in fully acceptance of everything, anything that you are experiencing, that's when we start accessing to love. And when we are in a love state, if you are creative and entrepreneur, you probably have access to this state in different moments in your life. You might have your own way to access, probably similar to what I'm describing at the moment. So when we are in a state of love, that's when we get hits of inspiration, when we get insights, when we get the breakthroughs. So that's the road you want to take. That's where you want to get love. And you get to love through acceptance. Love is going to give you all the ideas and all the is going to show you the direction you need to go. Bringing this back to children and to inner child work and to my experience for many years working with children, that's what ended up working for me. Being present, accepting. And from that place of acceptance, I just had love for that little child. We need to remember also something that I cannot forget, because inner child healing space forgets about this part too, and is the big part of, yes, kids need love, children need love, but children need also to be guided. They don't have context. They do not know what's good and what's bad for them. So love requires boundaries. Love is nothing separate to having boundaries, and that's what we need to do with children all the time. But only when we are in that place of love is when we can truly set out boundaries with them. And that's when we can be the authority they need, because they need it. I think, don't remember, that's after 14 years old that they start having their own opinions, and their brains, our brains, are able to create our own. Maybe 14 years old is a little later, but it's after 7 years old. From 0 to 7, they still need the grown-up guiding them, being the authority. They need it. It's the healthy way of learning how to be a human, having someone else telling you where to go. So with all this explanation, all these little parts of the puzzle, now I want you to understand the practice. And the practice is, from now on, whenever there's an emotional activation, instead of spending the whole hour doing the inner child healing, inner child work, I invite you to just be present with yourself, with the current version of yourself, and the many younger versions of yourselves, including the 5 months old. I think I had a very traumatic thing when I was 6 months old. I was dead for a whole week. I'm sure, like, I don't even remember. I don't know. But now with this practice, I will hold that little baby. You know, like I want you to bring all those versions of yourself, and you don't have to go anywhere. You can continue doing your day in that presence. Just bring the energy of those little parts. And again, if we are in presence, we are accepting. We cannot be present if we are not accepting. So accepting the emotion. So I was saying that I was sharing that a lot of the times kids don't want to hug. So that's why I think it's kind of the inner child healing. They always want you to hug the little version of yourself and all these things. And no, a lot of the times you don't need that. You need to go through the emotion, but you need the presence of someone, a grown-up with you, to reinforce that you are being loved, no matter how crazy your emotion was. Okay, you threw a tantrum. I am here for you. So presence. So when we are having the activation, we just need to be present. You can't just do that. You can't just be present. Okay, 7 years old, 5 years old me, 3 months old me is throwing a tantrum. Okay, let's be here. Let's be here. Let's just be here and accept whatever it is. In that presence, let me tell you, only in the presence is when you start having ideas. For example, for me recently, what I realized that I needed, I was like, I need the physical presence. So you start having all these insights of what is exactly that you need, instead of doing it from your mind, because a lot of the inner child healing is just like fixing. Presence, it is the key for any kind of healing. Presence and acceptance. I invite you to be curious, to explore it for a little bit. The more we do it, and the thing is, like, now you're gonna do it with all this information that I'm sharing with you. I'm giving you the context, I'm giving you the intention of how we can do it from now on. We're just being present for that little children that is having a crazy tantrum that we don't understand what it is. So we are allowing the emotion to go through our bodies with love and acceptance, no matter what emotion, because there's not a way to read the mind of a 2-year-old that doesn't know how to talk. But what they do need, from my own freaking experience, that's, you know, why I'm so excited I'm like having all these aha moments. Oh my God, I was there for a 2-year-old, and the one only thing that helped them was my presence, and being there after their tantrum to tell them, I love you. Okay, they didn't probably understand my words, but my presence of love, of being in that place of acceptance and love, was what gave them what they needed. It's crazy to see when I finally realized and I finally was able to apply this with kids, the different personalities I would see. One of the last families I worked with, that child is pure love. And I was with them almost for the first year, since he was like 3 weeks. So I was a big part of his life. And I didn't see him for a couple of months, and I saw him right before I moved from San Francisco to Miami. And I saw that child, and I was like, oh my God, he's a big part of who I am. Like, he learned from my presence. Like, he is a lot of my presence. It is crazy. His nervous system, it's a beautiful thing to see. He has his tantrums. He has all his emotions, the normal things that children experience. But he knows how to auto-regulate. In order for us to be able to auto-regulate, that's the one freaking thing we need. We need presence. Presence from that grown-up, not judging us. When we are judging, it's because we got into our minds. When we are not present, we get into our minds. When we are present and we are accepting, we are in that energy of love. We are loving. I hope all this is making sense. I hope all this is creating a spark in your heart, is reminding you, because I'm just reminding you things. You know, I spent many years learning from, crazy experiences. Maybe that's the reason why I had all those experiences, to be able now to share this with you, and hopefully this information is going to make your process way easier and better and more enjoyable. It's like presence is the biggest expression of love. So if you're already aware of how important it is to love ourselves, from now on, whenever there's emotion, there's something activated, try to have that metaphor of a child not knowing, or just having the emotion, not knowing what's going on, but they just need to experience the emotion. So allowing the emotion to go through your body with presence and love. And you are going to start having the insights, the ideas of what else you could do to support that moment. So as I said, it could be the workout, the movement activity, so you feel grounded, connected in your body. It can be getting the ice cream. It can be going and have fun, play with friends, go out and spend some time with friends. It can be reading a book, something that gives you some, a boost of inspiration, watching a movie. But that's only going to happen with the presence. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being part of this community. Until my next video, peace and love.